Hi, and welcome to this video guide series. My name is Don, and I'm trying to be the Sly Strategist. This is intended to be a series of quick, easy to understand introductions to the Pathfinder 2e system. This guide series will not go far into specific rules or mechanics, but is intended to give you a general idea of what to expect playing Pathfinder 2e and a broad overview of the rules of the game. In this video, we'll be covering just what a tabletop role-playing game is. A tabletop role-playing game, or tabletop RPG, is a type of game where a group of players gather around a table or a virtual table online to create collaborative stories and adventures. Each player creates their own character who they play as throughout the game. One player takes on the role of the game master, who can go by many titles, such as Dungeon Master or Storyteller, who determines and guides the overall story. A game is typically played with a common set of rules, which dictate how the characters interact with the world and with each other. These rules might include how to resolve combat, how to perform skills, and how to cast spells, among other things. During play, the players describe their actions, and the game master interprets and narrates the outcomes of those actions, often using dice rolls to determine success or failure. The game can be played in many different settings, such as fantasy, sci-fi, or historical periods, and can range from intense combat-focused gameplay to more storytelling-driven experiences. Tabletop RPGs are known for their flexibility and creativity, allowing players to explore complex themes and emotions and to develop their characters over time through a series of interconnected adventures. The games can be played with just a few people or with a large group and can be adapted to fit almost any playstyle or interest. As a player in a tabletop RPG game, your main objective is to immerse yourself in the story and experience of the game. At the start of the game, you create a character to play as throughout the session. This involves selecting a race, class, abilities, and equipment for your character, as well as fleshing out their backstory and personality. Different systems use different character sheets and rules for this creation. As the game progresses, you interact with the game world by describing your character's actions and choices. This might include exploring new areas, interacting with NPCs, and solving puzzles or challenges. Every system has its own unique environments and adventures. You use dice rolls to determine the outcome of certain actions, such as combat or skill checks. Depending on the game, you may need to roll different types of dice to determine the outcome. A common set of dice is a set of polyhedral dice, which include a 4-sided, a 6-sided, an 8-sided, a 10-sided, a 12-sided, and a 20-sided die. When referring to them, you would call them a D4 or a D20, depending on the amount of sides, and multiples would be the quantity followed by the type. For example, 2D8 would be 2 8-sided dice. You work with the other players to achieve the game's objectives and complete the adventure. This involves communicating and collaborating to make decisions and solve challenges. Throughout the game, you have the opportunity to develop your character's skills, abilities, and personality through the choices you make and the challenges you overcome through leveling. Ultimately, your goal as a player is to have fun and enjoy the experience of playing the game. Whether you succeed or fail in your objectives, the game should be an enjoyable and memorable experience. The flow of a typical tabletop RPG session can vary depending on the specific game being played and the preferences of the players and game master. However, this is a general outline of the flow of a typical game. The game master begins by describing the setting and the situation in which the players find themselves. The players describe what their characters are doing and what actions they want to take. The game master will then determine the outcome of the players' actions and describe the results. The game master will introduce challenges for the players to overcome, such as combat encounters, puzzles, or social interactions with NPCs. The players respond to the challenges by making decisions and taking actions. The game master will then interpret and enforce the game's rules and mechanics and makes on-the-fly adjustments as needed. As the game progresses, the players have opportunities to develop their character's skills, abilities, and personalities. The game master will narrate the story, describing the outcomes of the player's actions and the consequences of their decisions. The Game Master will then conclude the session, wrapping up any loose ends and providing a resolution to the session's adventure, and sets the story for the next session. That is going to conclude this video, and I hope you really enjoyed it and got some use out of it. These videos are aimed at a brand new player rather than experienced players, but it still helps to go back to the basics if you are trying a new system and what you might expect. Feel free to like or subscribe. Have a great day and happy adventuring.